I received a comment today that is worth exploring. I made a video called Jewish Americans Don't Keep Kosher. I've been kosher for over 10 years. Our friend The Climbing Tree left me this comment shortly after I posted that video saying, quote, "I'm converting to Judaism and I keep kosher. It's been a challenge separating all our dishes to meat and dairy and not accessing takeaway anymore. There aren't any kosher places near us, but other than that, it's been an enjoyable experience. Why do you keep kosher if you're not a practicing Jew? Are you Jewish? Sorry, this is the first video of yours I've seen," end quote. So let's address that. Let's talk about that. Because, like I said, in the other video, I had been reading articles when I first went kosher over 10 years ago that there were actually more people in the United States who abided by kosher who weren't necessarily actually practicing Jewish faith. So the actual Jewish people who practice the Jewish religion weren't abiding by it. More people like me were. And so that was the article. So for the question asking if I am Jewish, I am not Jewish. If we want to get technical, and then for anybody new to this channel, my mother's DNA test through my heritage says that she's 15.2% Sephardic Jewish, like Spanish Jewish. And her father's side of the family came from Italy. So apparently that was going on. And I'm not surprised at all by that. So many Jewish people who are, let's say, of the practicing Jewish faith, many people, and I get this comment basically on a weekly basis, people who are actually Jewish who leave a comment and say, "Your mother's Jewish, that means you're Jewish. Welcome to the tribe." I get that often from actual Jewish people. People who aren't Jewish are like, "You're not Jewish." Okay, so Jewish people say I'm Jewish because of my mother's DNA test saying that. People who are not Jewish say I'm not. So there's the answer. But as far as practicing the Jewish religion, no. But I am absolutely strict about keeping kosher. And so imagine, and I'm in Tennessee, so imagine here in Tennessee, it's especially part of the cultural identity of men that you hunt, right? So you're hunting all these things a lot of Jewish people can't eat. You're always grilling out and having bacon on there all the time, right? It's and pork, and it's a very, as far as the masculine identity of a Southern man, how in the world could you even be kosher? But for me, I've defied the odds, and I have not had pork or shellfish in over 10 years. So I have been very strict about this. But why? Why is the question? Since I don't have to be. Why? It's because I guess you could say it's dormant. I have Dyshidrotic Eczema. I have a skin condition that affects, I think, like 1 out of 20,000 Americans. It's rare, but it's pretty brutal. And that is, it causes your hands to swell up, have these blisters that itch constantly, and it's like your hands are just burned all the time. And there's no medical cure for it. You can get certain really strong lotions and creams to kind of keep it at bay, but it doesn't actually stop it. You're just stuck with this. There's no medical cure. So over 10 years ago, I made the connection that when my wife and I went on our honeymoon, we went to New England and all I ate was shrimp and shellfish. The entire time, that's all I ate for a week. So we got married in July of that year. Well, by Thanksgiving of that year, I realized, wait a minute, that actually made my skin even worse when I went to New England and Maine and Connecticut and ate all that stuff. So what if I were to stop eating shellfish? And immediately I thought, oh yeah, like Jewish people, they can't eat pork or shellfish. You know, I'm desperate enough because of my skin condition. I'm just going to go ahead and be like Jewish people and not eat pork or shellfish anymore. And that was, well, let me see, what year is this, 2019? So that would have been 2008, yeah, the year I got married. So Thanksgiving 2008 was the last time. And that was when I converted, to being kosher at that point. And I didn't care even so much about the pork, but I loved shellfish so much. So that's why. Now, the takeaway from this story even more so from the fact that why I'm kosher is the fact that I don't have dyshidrotic eczema anymore, and I had a severe case of it. And so that's why, because I found my own cure for dyshidrotic eczema. And I don't go to the doctor for it, and I don't have to get medicine. I just cut that part out of my diet. Now, I would say, maybe it's more than a coincidence though, that if I do have this Jewish lineage that goes back, that maybe when people who have that DNA are exposed to things that they shouldn't be eating, that it affects them more so than people who have religions and faiths that don't prohibit it. I could see that. We could say that's a coincidence, but I could see the truth in that. So I hope that answers your question on why I am very strict about remaining kosher, even though I do not practice Judaism, even though my heritage on my mom's test shows that 15.2% Spanish Jewish, Sephardic Jewish. So if you got any more questions, I'm very happy to talk more about this. I love talking about this stuff. Just let me know in the comments right here.